Okay, guys, in this lesson, we'll learn how to isolate objects out of a background. This is important for your assignment, right? So, before we do that, let's understand some more things about the layers panel. Right here, we have the cap photo at layer 0, okay? And you see that when you open a new file, most of the layers will have this lock sign. Okay, the base layer will have this lock sign. Now, what does that mean? It means that the layer is locked, which means I can't move it around no matter how much I try to move it. I can't do it. So basically, I'll have to unlock this layer if I need to move it around. How do I unlock this layer? So if I go ahead and click on this lock icon right here, the lock disappears, which means now I can move this layer on the canvas. Okay, so let's undo that. And if I need to lock this back again, all I have to do is select it. I can right click on it and okay, it doesn't have the right click option here. Yeah, let's go ahead and there's this lock icon right on top. You just click on that and then the layer gets locked. Okay, so this is the way you lock and unlock layers in Photoshop. Okay, now let's go ahead and isolate this particular cap out of this white background. So right now it's a fixed image. You see the white is fixed with the red cap. So to do this successfully, what we'll need is something called a selection tools on Photoshop. You can access the selection tools by clicking on the icon here, and then we have the first option as object selection. Okay. All right. So when you select object selection and you move your mouse pointer in onto the canvas, you can see the pointer is changed into this plus target icon and with a grid line. And as if I point it to the cap turns pink. But if I point it to the outside of the cap, which is a white area, the white area turns pink. Now, what does this pink color denote? The pink color denotes the area that Photoshop will select for you when you click on it. So if I go ahead and point on the cap and I just click on it, you see, Photoshop will make a selection of the cap entirely, and you can know that by looking at the border of the cap. There's marching ants, what we call in Photoshop terminology. The marching ants is which means it is a selection made by Photoshop. So this is one of the most easiest ways that you can isolate objects out of a background. So right now you have selected this. Photoshop has selected this particular cap. Uh, we are just going to right click on it and then we are going to select something called as layer via cut. And as soon as you select that, look, something has happened. Another new layer has popped up on the layers panel. Now, what is this new layer? To understand it better, we'll have to hide the previous layer there. So if I hide the base layer, now I can see that this particular red cap is isolated from its background and it's on a transparent background, okay, on its own transparent background. And if I click and move around, you see it doesn't have the white background anymore. It's isolated. So it's cut that particular selection out of that a layer and made a new layer by itself. Okay. So this is what layer via cut means. It's cut out from this particular layer. Now let's just go ahead and undo the actions that we just did, even the selection, and go back to the main canvas how it was. Uh, all right. So if you go and repeat the actions again, and I click on the cap, select it, and if I right click, and instead of layer via cut, I select layer via copy. What happens? Again, I get a new layer, but in this instance, Photoshop has not cut out the cap from the previous layer. And I can know that by hiding the first layer, and you see the previous layer is still intact. And if I move this around, I can see the white is still stuck on to the cap. And this is the layer 0. If I hide layer 0 and show layer 1, you see the cap has been made like a copy in the new layer with a transparent background, and I can move this around. Okay. So in the previous classes, we learned how to fill a background image with a foreground image. Okay. So let's go ahead and change the background image to black. So right now it was white as foreground and black as background. If you click on this interchange arrow right on top, the colors will switch, which means the foreground becomes the black and the background becomes white. So right now the foreground is black. So we'll go to edit, we'll go to fill, and we want the fill to be the foreground, which is black. And you click OK, and you see um, the entire page. Okay, it has filled the entire page with the black background. Okay, we're just going to undo that. We don't need that. What we need is to have a black background for the cap, not the black background for the entire layer. So that's what it did. It colored the entire layer to black and we couldn't see the cap. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create a new layer. And you can do that by right clicking on the layer itself and click new layer, give it a name, background, okay, and click OK. And now you see there's a new layer, which is called background. You're going ahead and going to fill that. So go to edit, fill, set it to foreground, and OK. And now you can see this layer is being colored as black while the cap layer still exists at the bottom. So we learned how to rearrange layers by clicking and dragging. So we're going to click this black background and move it below the cap. And now you can see that the cap is on top of a black background and they both are independent of them, which means the cap can be moved around and the black background can be moved around. Okay, so this is how you isolate objects from their background in Photoshop.